Hey guys, welcome back to the cheat code. So, I don't know where I posted this. I might have posted this on a couple different platforms, but I recently purchased this little book here. And there's actually another one that I'm gonna get, but this one, my guides kind of, spun me around and I found it. It's more of a folklore type book, but the one that I want to get is I'd say kind of more in depth. This is kind of almost like it's informative, but it's almost kind of like more of a ghost story, something that, really gives a lot of visuals and yeah, ghost lore. So let's get into some things, because there are some things that I was being told by whichever spirits are connected to me that could be causing some of these spiritual attacks. So one of them, I was told that earthbound spirits. Another one, I was told it was a Jumbi, which I had not heard that term in a long time. Usually West Indian people use that term. Yeah, let's just get to it. So, oh, I didn't even see this part. So if you take a look, I don't know who that's supposed to be, but you could probably take a wild guess. Let me get to some of what they have in here. So it goes across Europe, Asia, Oceania, Africa, North Africa and the Caribbean, Central and South America, and then there's resources, glossary, index, etc. So let's take a look at some of the things, because there's something in here that my mother actually used to talk about, and the way that she pronounced it, I don't know if it's her accent, but the way that she pronounced it, it made me feel like, not made me feel like, what am I saying? I didn't recognize that it was the same thing that was mentioned in this book. So we're going to look at North America and the Caribbean. I'm going to try, I should have actually bookmarked these first, but I'll just try and edit it. Let's see, so we're looking for page. Okay, so this is North America and the Caribbean. Okay, so I'm not going to read everything in here, but just a couple of bits and pieces. So here's the Jumbi spirit. So this is what my guides have told me is one of the things that has been causing me trouble. So let me just see again. I'm going to have to edit some of this out. I should have had it prepared, but it was kind of like a last minute. Just maybe I'll share something that might help some others. So Jumbi is a catch-all term for a range of evil spirits in the Caribbean, which is sometimes spelled Jumbie or Jumby. As an example, babies who died before baptism became the Duan, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Duan, mimicking adult voices to lure children into the woods. The Churil is a female Jumbi created when a mother dies in childbirth. She cries at night looking for her baby. The Lagahu is a half-human, half-wolf male Jumbi. Sometimes a Lagahu takes the form of a man covered in chains carrying a coffin. So let me get to the part that... So it says concepts of the Jumbi vary between cultures, but a common point is that evil people remain evil after death. Becoming the Jumbi, although admittedly this doesn't quite fit the Duan's origin story, Jumbis only come out after dark. And writer Judy Simmons explains that a sharp bend in a road on the island of Bequia was named Jumbi Corner since people believed Jumbis gathered there at night. People avoided walking there alone after sunset. Where's the part that I read that I felt like could be helpful? It says that, okay, let's just continue reading here. In Guyana, one Jumbi is the Ole, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Higue, Higue. The Guyanese version of the Sukayant. Now that's the one that my mom used to talk about. So basically, I can't even now, I can't even remember, it's being blocked for me right now. I can't remember what it was, what she used to call it. I think she called it like Sukana or something like that, but maybe that's just how she pronounced it. So my understanding of that is that that is a spirit or takes on a form of something where it can actually shed its skin. And she told me a story about a man that whose wife was one and took off, like he saw her one night taking off her skin, and that for these types of things, we'll say, I don't even know what to call them, you put pepper, I think she said at the time salt and pepper on their skin so they can't put their skin back on, and that's how you catch them and you keep them, I guess, away from you. So I don't know if that's to suggest, because a lot of these folklore stories, they usually have, you know, some kind of origin that originates from something that actually happened, but they might have kind of, you know, it's just kind of like the broken telephone. They might kind of, not exaggerate it, but they kind of, you know, twist the story a little bit as it passes from generation to generation. So anyways, yeah, so it says Sukayant. During the day, she lives among humans, taking the form of an introverted old lady. When night falls, she takes off her skin and streaks across the sky as a ball of fire. She picks out a victim and shrinks to fit through the keyhole. Once inside, she feeds on her victim's blood while they sleep. You can keep her out by leaving the key in the lock overnight, or, if you can find her skin, cover it in hot peppers, which will burn her when she tries to put it back on. Another way to protect yourself is to scatter rice across the entrance of your house, causing her to stop to count them all like Pantifica. Yeah, well, not Pantifica, excuse me. Pantafica. I guess that's another spirit or entity. There are plenty of other methods to avoid jumbies. Some jumbies, like the Duen, either don't have feet or have backward facing feet. Leaving shoes outside your front door will distract them with trying on the shoes, and they'll forget to enter your home. Like countless other spirits, jumbies can't cross running water, so crossing a river can take you out of harm's way. If you get home late at night, walk backwards through your door or spin in a circle before you open the door to stop the jumbi from following you inside. So that is very interesting. We have the duppy. This one's pretty short. I'm sure many of you have heard of that term. Especially with Drake's little battle that he had with I'll say little battle, but on his end, with Pusha T, where he made the, what did he call it, duppy freestyle? I wasn't even aware that he knew what that word was, but anyway. So basically with a duppy, I just know of it to be a term to refer to a ghost, but this is kind of giving origins to an extent, I guess, again, the lore. So it says, in Jamaican lore, everyone has two souls. When a person dies, the good soul goes to heaven while the other soul is stuck in the coffin for 3 days. If the correct burial rites aren't followed, the shadow of the earthbound soul will leave the grave and become a duppy. When the shadow of the earthbound soul leaves the body, it might appear as smoke, a blue mist, or even a swarm of flies. Yeah, I was going to say something, but that's a little bit different, because I have seen spirits where they appear as like fog or mist. I actually got that confirmation. I was watching Kai Cenat's stream, and him and what is it? Yeah, Wuwap were having like a little reading challenge, and I don't know why they decided to pull this up, but definitely my guides guided me to watch that part of his stream. And I don't think it was during any of the Mafia-thons or anything. I think it was just a visit. And they were reading that part where they said spirits often appear as fog or mist. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was like confirmation for me, because sometimes I'd be really sad or just, you know, going through something, and then I'd just be surrounded by this fog and this mist. And I also have a dog that passed away many, many years ago. And that was one of the first things that I saw, just like a little cloud of smoke just floating on the ground around my bed. And I was like, what is that? So that kind of gave me confirmation. Some lore notes that a benevolent duppy might guard its family or watch over children, though duppies are more often referred to as malevolent beings. Some writers consider the duppy as a form of Jumbi. The spirits also appear in the religious practice of Obia, which combines the religions of enslaved people from West Africa and in some regions also draws on indigenous Caribbean practices. Duppies most commonly take the form of the human in life, wearing clothes they were buried in and eating and drinking like people. Yet they can also come in different forms, including snakes, calves, or even three-legged, fire-breathing horses. They can take the form of any animal except donkeys or lambs. The reason for these particular exceptions is unclear. Another interesting tidbit, something that happened to me really early on when I started going through my spiritual journey and learning about ancestors and, leaving offerings for your ancestors and things of that nature. And, your ancestors, especially like with my background, I have a multicultural background, both by blood and by marriage. So your ancestors, that could be, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, they could be like 40 generations back. And, they all might like different things or, there's different cultures or different practices when they were around. Some of them might not even be human, who knows? But anyways, I recall two different things. One person saying that it might not be a good idea that if someone in life had an addiction to provide any of those things as offerings. Now, when I say offering, for me, an offering is a thank you. Something that I was told early on in my journey was that the spiritual gifts that I got, well, I do know where they come from, but that basically a lot of people who inherit spiritual gifts, that they come from your ancestors. So basically it's like they gave them to you because you would need them in your incarnation in this lifetime. So you might do things to thank them. Something I learned about Chinese culture as well, that before getting to this part of my journey, not this part, but the part where it goes beyond just understanding that you have spiritual gifts, was that I understood that in Chinese culture, they not only like burn money, but they burn like objects or to provide them in the afterlife. So I guess the belief is that if you burn, like, let's say a car, you're providing a car to that person in their next incarnation. So that was something I was unaware of. What was my point of getting at that? Yeah, so I was told at one point through just various means that you should not, if someone in life had an addiction or anything like that, that you should not provide those things as offerings to them. But to me, I always understood that if someone passes away, your physical form, everything, like you kind of shed that, doesn't carry on with you. But then more along my journey, I came to find out that and understand and have a belief. I don't know if it was like a download that I got, but just, things that I heard that resonated with what I believed was that you don't immediately die and then just like kind of like go to heaven. Although some people who have had the, I guess we'll say, the ability to read into things like that. I think I've mentioned him on this channel before. If you have watched any of my other videos, I'm a gentleman by the name of Cash Peters, and he does what he calls transition pictures. So he specifically taps into the energy of those who are in transition. So after they pass and before they reach heaven or wherever else they go. He believes that, from the readings that I've listened to from him, he doesn't use any cards or anything like that. It's just energy. He refers to himself as an energy empath. So he believes in, like a lot of spiritual people, the universal consciousness. So he believes that we all rejoin it, whether you're an atheist, like he did a energy reading on atheists. And he feels that as an atheist, you still go back to the same place. It's just whatever role we play while we're in this incarnation. So in this lifetime, whatever role you play, you still end up the same place. That he has not described a heaven or a hell. It's just that after you've had this experience, like some people, he gives examples of things and not literal, but just how he interprets them or how they're given to him spiritually, that he might see someone. So let's say, for example, they carried a lot of heavy burdens with them. He might see them go through a process where they might just kind of be, what people refer to as, my spirit guides are saying, the upper room. What people refer to as like purgatory, or just that in-between state where it's kind of like some people aren't accepting that they have passed and it's time for them to move on. So those could be the earthbound spirits that you might see. Then there's poltergeists. I haven't even gotten to that part in here, but those are the disturbing ones. Um, but yeah, that some people have to go through like a cleansing process, meaning that they have to shed all of that before they rejoin the global conscious, not global, I keep saying global, the universal consciousness. So yeah, I remember the very first time that I ever left out any alcohol. And I believe it was wine, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been, no, I think it was actually a rum that I had left out for my ancestors. And my electronics went crazy that night. I don't know if there's like, because you know, they say that spiritual activity, like everything's energy. So oftentimes spiritual energies will interfere with your electronics so they can make your television flicker, change channels, do all kinds of different things. And my Wi-Fi was going crazy, my television was going crazy, my phone was going crazy, the lights were going crazy, everything was like going, it was almost like they got drunk or something. It was like, I was like, whoa, I'm never doing this again. And it probably took like a year or two before I ever even tried that again. And I definitely didn't put any hard liquor. So I was like, is it true that they actually can, you know, maybe become intoxicated, like even if they're like a spirit? Or is it just their presence that was causing that disruption? Like, because that was the first time I ever did that. So I think that might have even been the first time I ever did an offering, period. So it might have just attracted them. I try to create strong boundaries. That's a whole other story, but hopefully it wasn't anything else that just wandered in here like an earthbound soul and was just like, ooh, liquor, and you know, had a little party. There's one that I haven't looked at yet that I was interested in, so I'm just going to take a moment to find it here. And they really, I don't know who is connected to me, but they really like this picture for some reason. I don't know. I haven't looked into who this is. Sundel Bolong. If the man refuses her advances, she will castrate him, sometimes using her own fingernails. Oh, wow. I didn't even see that. Look at her hands at the bottom. That's crazy. Okay. Well, I hope you got what you wanted from me showing that. Now let me move on, please. Let me see. There's something that... okay, so there's something called Sasabon Sam that's from Ghana, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. So let's see what that one is. That's the one I was curious about because I heard about that in a song. So I was like, what is that? Obanje? I don't know what that is. That would be disturbing. I don't want to see any children ones. That's not cool. Let's see. Oh, wow. That's what he looks like? Or it. So this is Sasabon Sam. Never heard of him before. Oh yeah, I said Ghana. So the Sasabon Sam is a creature in the lore of the Akan people in Ghana, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. American anthropologist Joseph John Williams described the Sasabon Sam as a large and hairy with long legs, bloodshot eyes, and feet that pointed in both directions. Williams suggested the earliest versions of the Sasabon Sam may have been a misidentification of a gorilla. In other descriptions, it has a bearded face, horns, claws, and sharp teeth. It is depicted as skinny with prominent ribs, while its bat wings give it the power of silent flight. It is rumored to sit in, I'm struggling to read this because I'm like getting messages while I'm reading this, so it's distracting me. Where am I? It is rumored to sit in high branches and dangle its legs to catch hunters, though it also sleeps in tree hollows. The Sasabon Sam is supposed to drink human blood, though it might also eat them. Writer J.B. Dequoy included a photograph of a Sasabon Sam carving attributed to, I thought I was going to say a picture of it, attributed to artist Osei Bonsu in a newspaper article in 1939. The article quotes a youth who was part of a crowd watching the carving being photographed. He told the story of a man who killed a Sasaban Sam after he found it asleep in a tree hollow. He brought it to town to display the remains, which the youth said were strikingly similar to those in the carving. The main discrepancy between the Sasaban Sam and the carving was the length of the creature's arms. The carving arms were too short. Despite its monstrous appearance, the tendency to feed on humans, the Sasaban Sam is also a forest protector. As research fellow Genevieve, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, Nrenzah, Nrenza, explains, the Sasaban Sam preys on those who venture into the forest on a Thursday, a day of rest for the Akan people, which gives the land an opportunity to replenish itself. It also explains the appearance of hunters who went missing in the forest when they broke this rule. It's possible the Sasaban Sam is a cautionary tale designed to warn people about the dangers of going into the forest alone. Yet it also warns people to respect the forest and its laws. While the incoming Christians portrayed the Sasaban Sam as the devil, in the 20th century, emphasizing the evil in its terrifying actions, the best way to avoid the Sasaban Sam is to abide by forest laws. Interesting. So I hope you enjoyed that little story time. There was something I was just thinking of, but it completely just escaped my mind right now. Let's see if I can remember. If not, I'm going to have to just edit this part out. Yeah, I can't seem to remember. I feel like it's being blocked right now because I'm getting really, really dizzy. Yeah, so anyway, if you're interested in this book, again, it's called Ghost Lore, Unveiling 50 Phantoms That Have Haunted History, written by Icy Sedgwick and illustrated by Mabel Esteban Garcia. And this again is the cover. This is the rear. Canadian, it ran me about, whoa. It ran me about, I think it's $45 Canadian plus tax, somewhere in here. I don't know. Wait. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, so that was with tax. $33.99 Canadian and American $24.99. Yeah, ghosts have haunted mythologies across the world for millennia. Yeah, they want me to read this. I don't know. From mischievous German poltergeists to Nigerian school hauntings and Japanese spirits of pure vengeance, folklore has, I can't even read these. Let me just not get frustrated because I had an episode earlier today. I can't. Let me start this again. From mischievous German poltergeists to Nigerian school hauntings, the Japanese spirits of pure vengeance, folklore has folklore has tried to explain the mystery of where people go after they die. Ghost lore explores the origins, stories, and influence of 50 elusive ghosts from around the globe and what they mean for us today. I have never had a problem reading, articulating myself, or doing anything, but oh boy, I tell you, I just finished doing a reading, and I was doing one from, they wanted me to call it Hello from the Other Side, so that might have something to do with it. There's probably a lot of activity going on. Let me cleanse my space, let me cleanse myself, and let me get to bed. So yeah, thank you for watching if you enjoyed this little story time. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Have you heard of any of these ghosts? Like, is there something that's particular in your country? How do you protect yourself from ghosts? You don't want to know what I have to do, but anyway, yeah, leave your comments. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing some free yes or no one card pulls, and that's coming. So you'll want to have your notifications on all. And until next time, it's Cheat Code.